members to say the opening prayer. Somebody to say the opening prayer.
Shall we pray? Our Father and our God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather today to consider the affairs of our company, Nasd Plc. We pray that now will guide us, guide the chairman and the members of this company, that all we shall do shall be to your glory only. For we have asked in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare the meeting open. On June 15, 2022, the Corporate Affairs Commission approved the convening of the company's 9th annual general meeting by proxy. In accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission's guidelines and approval thereon, this annual general meeting will be conducted by proxy. The quorum stipulated by Article 13 of the Articles of Association of the company is 10 shareholders present in person or by proxy. Can the registrar confirm that the quorum has been formed?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, directors, and esteemed shareholders. My name is Busola Wali Maikaya, and I represent Coronation Registrars Limited, registrars to Nasd Plc. We have 27 shareholders attending by proxy with a total of 272,053,344 units, representing 61.25% of the issued and fully paid up shares of the company. With this information, we hereby confirm that the quorum has been formed. Thank you.
Thank you. Based on the report of the registrar, I hereby declare that a quorum has been formed in compliance with Article 13 of the company's Articles of Association. Before we proceed to the formal agenda for the meeting, I would like to introduce to you very briefly the members of the Board of Directors. My name is Olutola Mobolurin. To my extreme right is Mr. Chike Nwanze. Mr. Ario Olushekun, please wave. Mr. Oladipo Aino. Mr. Kayode Falowo, I believe, is unavoidably absent or attending online. Yes. Mr. Abubakar Lawal. Thank you. Mr. Kerry Booker. Mrs. Olayimika Bolo. Mr. Bola Jomale, who is seated to my right. And Mr. Egwarikide Longe. Thank you very much. We also have represented this morning, either in person or online, the company secretary, Mrs. Omolola Ikuagu, who is sitting to my left. The registrar, Mrs. Busola Wale Maikaya. The Securities and Exchange Commission, represented by Mrs. Rosemary Census. Corporate Affairs Commission joining us online. The company's external auditors, Deloitte Touche, represented by Ms. Rashidat Balogun, online. The chairman of the audit committee, Mr. Kasumu Garba Kurfi, sitting to my extreme left. I would like to inform all members that in accordance with section 257, subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the Register of Directors shareholding is available for inspection throughout the meeting. I now call upon the company secretary to read the notice of the meeting, which is on page 7 of the annual report.
Mr. Chairman, sir, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I confirm that that notice was duly sent out to all shareholders and all persons entitled to receive the same. and also that the proxies have been duly lodged with the registrar, as earlier confirmed. I now proceed to read the notice, which is at page 7 of the report. Notice is hereby given that the 9th annual general meeting of NASD PLC, the company, will hold on Monday, 4th July 2022 at the Metropolitan Club, 15 Kofu Abayomi Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, at 11 a.m. to transact the following business. Ordinary business. 1, to present and consider the audited financial statements of the company for the year ended 31st December 2021, together with the reports of the directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon. 2, to ratify the appointment of Mr. Egwareke Longe as executive director. 3, to ratify the appointment of Ms. Kenechi Ezezika as a non-executive director. 4, to appoint Mr. Ishmael Ebodake as a non-executive director. 5, to appoint Mrs. Fatumata Sukuna Koka as a non-executive director. 6, to re-elect the following directors who retire by rotation at this meeting and being eligible offer themselves for re-election. 1, Mr. Kayode Falowo. 2, Mr. Ariyo Olusekun. 3, Mr. Abubakar Lawal. 7, to appoint Deloitte as the auditors of the company and authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 8, to elect or re-elect the members of the statutory audit committee. 9, to disclose the remuneration of the managers pursuant to section 257 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Special business. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following ordinary resolutions. Ten, to fix the remuneration of directors for the year ending December 31, 2022. 11, approval of the issuance of bonus shares to NASD shareholders. That upon the recommendation of the board of directors, the sum of 44,420,438 naira be credited from the company's retained earnings account and capitalized as 44,420,438 ordinary shares of 1 naira each by way of bonus shares in the ratio of 1 new share for every 10 shares, that is 1:10, held by shareholders whose names appear in the register of members at the close of business on 23rd June 2022, and the shares so allotted shall be treated for all purposes as capital and not as income, and shall rank pari passu with the existing shares of the company. And this is the explanatory note to Resolution 11. By virtue of Section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, every company is required to maintain a prescribed minimum issued share capital. The Companies Regulations 2021 further directed that all companies in existence comply with the requirement of minimum issued share capital. As such, companies could no longer hold unissued shares. The Corporate Affairs Commission issued a circular on 16th April 2021, directing all companies to comply with the new provision of CAMA no later than 31st December 2022. The current share capital structure of NASD PLC is highlighted below and is here stated. Authorized share capital is 500 million, and the issued share capital is 444,204,000. I'm so sorry, this print is a bit, you bear with me, the print is a bit tiny, 388. And then the unissued shares are 55,795,612. In order to comply with the company's regulations, the board of directors, subject to shareholders' approval, is proposing a 1:10 bonus share issue to shareholders. 12, approval of appointment of shares under allotment of shares under an employee share option scheme. The directors be and are hereby authorized to do all such things and exercise such powers as may be necessary to establish an employee share option scheme and allot under the scheme 11,375,174 ordinary shares of ₦1 each, representing 2.5% of the total shares of the company, to qualifying employees of the company at such price, time, for such period, and on such other terms and conditions as the directors may deem fit, subject to the applicable laws and regulations and receipt of such other relevant regulatory approvals as may be necessary. And then I follow with the explanatory note to resolution 12. This resolution is proposed as a special resolution and seeks shareholder approval to establish an employee share option scheme for the benefit of the company's employees on such terms and in such manner as the directors may determine from time to time, subject to the limitations set out in this resolution. If this resolution is passed, the company shall be authorized to allot 11,375,174 shares to the staff share trust. In the initial instance, the shares so allotted will be paid for out of the company's share premium account. Eligibility to purchase shares from the staff share trust by staff is minimum service to the company of 2 years, provided that the board in its absolute discretion may redirect a shorter period for any member of management. Staff eligible to purchase the staff share scheme shares will make their purchases at the approved price in accordance with the terms of the staff share scheme from the staff share trust. A trustee will be appointed that will be allotted the approved percentage of shares to seed the NASD staff share scheme. Management has selected Stanbic IBTC Trustees Limited to act as trustee over the scheme. 13, to consider and if thought fit, pass the following ordinary resolutions. That the company be and is hereby authorized to take all necessary steps to ensure that the memorandum and articles of association of the company are altered to comply with the resolutions above, including replacing the provisions stating the authorized share capital with the issued share capital. The company be and is hereby authorized to enter into and execute agreements, deeds, notices, and any other documents necessary for and or incidental to the resolutions above. The company be and is hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties, consultants, and advisors as may be required to comply with the resolutions above. And the company be and is hereby authorized to perform all acts and to do all such other things as may be necessary for or incidental to giving effect to the above resolutions, including without limitation, complying with the directives of the regulatory authorities. Proxy. A member entitled to attend and vote at the annual general meeting is entitled to appoint a proxy from the proxy stated in the notice to attend and vote in his or her or its stead, in accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission guidelines on holding general meetings using proxies. For the appointment to be valid, a completed and duly stamped proxy form must be deposited at the office of the registrar, Coronation Registrars Limited, 9 Amodu Ojekutu Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, Nigeria, not less than 48 hours before the time fixed for the meeting. A blank proxy form is attached to the annual reports. Now I go to the notes. Compliance with COVID-19 related directives and guidelines. Shareholders should note that the Corporate Affairs Commission has in view of the COVID-19 pandemic and the interests of public safety issued certain guidelines on holding annual general meetings by public companies using proxies. Accordingly, only persons indicated to be selected proxies on the proxy form would attend the meeting physically. All other shareholders will be required to attend the meeting online and to vote at the meeting through a proxy. In view of the above, the CAC has approved that attendance at the meeting shall only be by proxy to ensure public health and safety. Shareholders are required to appoint a proxy of their choice from the list of nominated proxies below. 1. Mr. Olutola Moboluri, Chairman. 2, Mr. Bola Ajobale, Managing Director. 3, Mr. Kashimu Garba Kofi, Shareholders Representative. Shareholders are therefore requested to submit their completed proxy forms in line with the Corporate Affairs Commission's guidelines to the email of the Company Secretary, l.ikwagu@ikoliokabwe.com, or to legalcompliance@nasdng.com, not later than 29th June 2022, to enable the company stamp the proxy forms and lodge same with coronation registrars not later than 48 hours prior to the meeting. 2, Audit Committee. In accordance with Section 404, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, any shareholder may nominate another shareholder for election to the Audit Committee by giving notice in writing of such nomination to the email of the Company Secretary, likwagu@ikoliokabwe.com, or to legalcompliance@nasdng.com at least 21 days before the annual general meeting. Nominations can also be submitted to the Company Secretary, GIO Nominees Limited, 864B, Bishop Aboyade Cole Street, Victoria Island, Lagos. The Code of Corporate Governance for Public Companies, issued by the Securities and Exchange Commission, provides that members of the Audit Committee should be financially literate and able to read financial statements. We therefore request that all nominations to the Audit Committee should be accompanied with the curriculum vitae of the nominees. Live streaming of AGM. The AGM will be streamed live. This will enable shareholders and other stakeholders who will not be attending physically to follow the proceedings. The link for the AGM live streaming will be made available on the company's website at www.nasdng.com. Closure of Register of Members. The Register of Members will be closed on 23rd June 2022 for the purpose of updating the Register of Members. Website. A copy of this notice, the annual report, and other information relating to the meeting can be accessed via the company's website at www.nasdng.com. Shareholders who have submitted their email details to the registrar will receive the electronic version of the annual report via email. Shareholders' right to ask questions. The right of the shareholders and other holders of the company's securities to ask questions, not only at the meeting, but also in writing prior to the meeting on any item contained in the annual report and accounts is recognized. Please send questions, comments, observations to the company, 9th floor, UBA building, 57 Marina, Lagos, or the mail of the company secretary, likwagu@ikoliokabwe.com, or office of the company secretary, GIO Nominees Limited, 864B, Bishop Aboyade Cole Street, Victoria Island, Lagos, not later than 1st July 2022. Questions will be presented at the annual general meeting and answered thereat. Dated this 10th day of June 2022, by order of the board and signed by L. Omolola Ikwagu, Mrs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll now proceed to the next item. The chairman's statement commences from page 10 of the annual report, which has been circulated to all shareholders. May I therefore seek your permission to take as read the chairman's statement in the 2021 annual report and account. Are there any objections to the chairman's statement being taken as read? I cannot see any objection, and therefore we'll move on to the next item. Thank you very much for your consent. I now lay before you the director's report and the annual audited accounts for the year ended 31st December 2021. Each member has received a copy of the annual report and accounts of the directors. With your permission, I would like to take them as read. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will now call on the representatives of the external auditors to read their report in respect of the company's financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021, which will be presented by Mr. Michael Oshinloye of Deloitte and Touche. Can you please unmute? Okay, can you unmute? Who can unmute? Are you controlling the? Yeah, so unmute the person, you know. Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman.
Oshinloye, I think we can see you now. We know you have been unmuted. Can you please read your report?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'll be presenting our independent auditor's report, which is on page 7 of the earlier circulated financial statement. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I would like to paraphrase reading of the audit report by reading the first paragraph and the last paragraph of the report. Our independent auditors report to the shareholders of NASD Plc report on the audit of financial statements. The first paragraph, opinion. We have audited the financial statements of NASD Plc, set out on pages 10 to page 50, which comprise the statement of financial position as at 31 December 2021, and the statement of profits or loss and other comprehensive income, a statement of changes in equity, and statement of cash flows for the year then ended, the note to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policy. In our opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the financial position of NASD Plc as at 31 December 2021, and its financial performance and cash flow for the year then ended in accordance with International Financial Reporting Standards, Companies and Other Matter Acts, Cap C20 Law of the Federation of Nigeria, and the Financial Reporting Council Act of Nigeria Act. Then the last paragraph, Mr. Chairman. Okay, the last paragraph. Okay. Report on other legal and regulatory requirements. In accordance with the Companies and Other Matter Act, we expressly state as follows. 1, we have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purpose of our audit. 2, the company has kept proper books of accounts so far as appear from our examination of those books. 3, the company's financial position and its statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income and in agreement with the books of accounts and return. Signed by my humble self on behalf of Deloitte Touche, on behalf of Deloitte and Touche, Chartered Accountants, Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Let me just quickly make the correction that the accounts can be found on page 56 through 58. I haven't had the auditor's report. I propose we take the audit committee's report from Mr. Garba Kurfi, chairman of the audit committee, which will now which will now present the report of the audit committee, which can be found on page 53 of the audited annual accounts report.
Okay, in accordance with the provision of section 404, subsection 7 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, we, the members of the Statutory Audit Committee of NSD PLC, report as follows. 1, we have exercised our statutory function under section 404, subsection 7 of the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020, and we acknowledge the cooperation of management in the conduct of this function. 2, we are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policy of the company are in accordance with the legal requirement and agreed ethical practice. 3, the scopes and the planning of both the external and internal audit program for the year ended 31st December 2021 were satisfactory and reinforced the company internal control system. 4, having reviewed the external auditor's finding and recommendation of management matters and deliberated with the external auditors who confirmed that they received management cooperation in the course of their audit, we are satisfied with management response to the management letters on the audit of the financial statement of the company. Signed by myself, Kasim Garba Kurpi, on behalf of the other members, Mr. Nono Awo, Mr. Fiona Ahimi, Mr. Abubakar Lawal, and I, Emo Kwedu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasim Garba Kufi. The auditor's financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2021 commences from page 56 of the annual report, and the report of the directors, auditors, and the statutory audit committee have now been presented to you all. In accordance with the Corporate Affairs Commission guidelines, shareholders were requested to send in their questions, in 5 days before this meeting. I would like to give other physically present shareholders the opportunity to ask any questions they may have so that all may be addressed together. Anybody here with a question? Okay, then. Who is reading the question? Any questions? Oh, okay. I understand no questions came in and there is nobody physically here who wants to ask a question. I would therefore not raise a question myself. In the absence of any question, I move for the approval of the auditor's financial statements for the year ended at 1st December 2021. I now call on the registrars to explain the procedure for voting throughout this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here is a brief description of the voting process. Having gotten requisite approvals to hold the meeting by proxy, we have captured a total number of 27 shareholders, voting details received by proxy, and holding 272,053,344 units, representing 61.25% of the issued share capital. Upon declaration of the resolutions by the chairman, the votes cast and captured using the proxy form submitted will be displayed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coronation Registrars. Now that the annual reports on the accounts for the year ended at 1st December 2021, the director's report and the audit committee report thereon sent to all shareholders as required of the Companies and Matters Act has been presented. I now move the motion for the adoption of the reports. Will the shareholder please second the motion for adoption of the report. Thank you very much. The votes cast, can we now have a vote? Do we need a vote for that? Okay, can we have a vote? No.
Thank you, Mr.
Those
Chairman.
for should please indicate, no, yeah.
So the result is hereby displayed.
Okay.
So we have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes, voting for this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the resolution has been carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the election of Mr. Longe as an executive director of NASD Plc. Mr. Longe joined the company in 2021 as its chief operating officer and brings over 30 years experience in the financial services and business analytics spaces. In December 2021, the board of directors appointed Mr. Longe as an executive director of the company. By virtue of the provisions of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the shareholders are required to ratify any director appointments made by the board. I consequently move that Mr. Longe's appointment as an executive director of NASD Plc be and is hereby ratified. Will a shareholder please second the motion? Thank you very much. The resolution having been proposed and duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the register.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I hereby declare the motion unanimously carried. Election of non-executive directors. The next item on the agenda is the election of non-executive directors. Following the resignation of Mr. Ayodeji Adigun, the representative of Heirs Holdings from on the company's board, the board received a letter nominating a new candidate to replace him. In a bid to infuse fresh ideas into the board and in line with good corporate governance practices, the board decided to broaden it. The board also received nominations from NEC Consult Limited and VFD Group PLC, amongst others. And upon thorough scrutiny by the board, it approved the appointment of the representative of these companies as members of the board. The following being eligible have been recommended for election as non-executive directors in accordance with Section 27, Section 273, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. There are Mrs. Kenechi Ezezika as Heirs Holdings representative, Mr. Ishmael Ebodage as a representative of VFD Group, Mrs. Fatu Mata Sukuna Koka as a representative of NSC Consult Limited. I therefore move that Ms. Kenechi Ezezika be appointed as a non-executive director of the company in accordance with Section 273, subsection 1 of the Company and Allied Matters Act 2020. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Thank you very much. The resolution hasn't been proposed and duly seconded. The votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing a total of 100% of the total votes cast here today, who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I hereby declare the motion carried. I also move that Mr. Ishmael Ebodage be appointed as a non-executive director in accordance with Section 273, subsection 1 of the Company and Matters Act 2020. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Thank you very much. The resolution having been proposed, duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders who have voted for this resolution, holding a total of 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes cast. Thank you.
Okay, I also move that Mrs. Fatumata Sukuna be appointed as a non-executive director in accordance with section 273 subsection 1 of the Companies and Other Matters Act 2020. Will the shareholder please second the motion? The resolution having been proposed and duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding a total of 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, I hereby declare the motion as carried. Re-election of directors. The next item on the agenda is the re-election of directors. The following directors retiring by rotation in accordance with section 285 of the Companies and Other Matters Act 2020 and being eligible are presenting themselves for re-election. Mr. Kayode Falowo, Mr. Ario Olusekun, Mr. Abubakar Lawal. May I also inform the shareholders that pursuant to section 284 subsection 2 of the Companies and Other Matters Act, the register of directors and record of directors' attendance at board meetings is available for inspection. I now move that Mr. Let me take this as single resolution. Oh, okay. Mr. Kayode Falowo, retiring by road. Retiring by rotation and presenting himself for re-election at this meeting in accordance with the company's articles of association, be and is hereby re-elected as a director of the company. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Thank you very much. The resolution having been proposed and duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes cast.
There's one resolution that went into the proxy.
Yes.
Okay. So I will take the resolution. I'll take the resolution. We'll take the resolution again. This time it will be as a single resolution for the three of them. So will a shareholder please second the motion for the reappointment of all the three directors retiring by rotation? That is, Mr. Kayode Falowo, Mr. Ario Olusekun, and Mr. Abubakar Lawal. Thank you very much. The resolution having been proposed and duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding a total of 53,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. I therefore declare the motion unanimously carried. The next item on the agenda is to reappoint Messrs. Deloitte and Touche as independent directors, independent account auditors, and to authorize the directors to determine the remuneration of the auditors. May I move a motion that Messrs. Deloitte and Touche be reappointed as independent auditors, and the directors are hereby authorized to determine the remuneration of the auditors for the accounting year ending 31st December 2022. Can a shareholder please second the motion? Thank you. The resolution having been prepared and duly seconded, the votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding a total of 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total vote cast who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now declare the resolution as unanimously carried. The next item on the agenda is to elect members of the audit committee. In accordance with section 404, subsection 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the audit committee shall consist of 3 shareholders of the company and 2 non-executive directors, subject to a maximum of 5 members. The board will approve 2 directors to represent it on the audit committee. At the expiration of the statutory period to receive nominations for shareholders represented on the audit committee, the following were nominated by shareholders in accordance with section 404, subsection 6 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 to serve on the committee. For the next financial year. Do we have the pictures? The nominations received for the 2022 AGM Statutory Audit Committee elections are detailed below. Messrs. APT Securities Limited, represented by Mr. Kasimu Garba Kurfi. Messrs. Palesa Capital, represented by Mr. Nona Awo. Messrs. FBN Capital Limited, represented by Mrs. Fiona Ahime, Mr. Olubosun Banji, and Mr. Erin Folami Ololade Balogun Gafar. At the expiration of the nomination dates, there were 5 shareholders nominated to serve as. And as we require only 3 representatives, an election will be conducted. The representative for election are Messrs. APT Securities Limited, nominated by Capital Assets, represented by Mr. Kasimu Garba Kurfi. Messrs. Palesa Capital, nominated by Capital Bank of, represented by Mr. Nona Awo. Messrs. FBN Capital, nominated by Capital Assets Limited, represented by Mrs. Fiona Ahime. Mr. Olubosun Banji, nominated by Mr. Ezechukwu Augustine Naimeka. And Mr. Erin Folami Ololade Balogun Gafar, nominated by Mr. Erin Folami Suleiman Temi Lolua. Each proxy should vote only 3 times to elect 3 representatives from among the 5 nominees. The 3 nominees with the highest votes will be deemed elected. The registrars and the assistants are kindly requested to count and record the votes and deliver the result to us. Will the proxies in favor of Messrs. APT Security Limited, represented by Mr. Kasim Garba Kufi, please cast their votes by raising their hand. You have the record. By show of hands. Will the proxies in favor of Messrs. Palesa Capital please raise their hands? Will the proxies in favor of Mrs. Fiona Ahime please cast their votes? Will the proxies in favor of Mr. Olubosun Banji please cast their votes? Will the proxies in favor of Mr. Erin Folami Ololade Balogun Gafra please cast their vote by raising their hand? Registrar, do you have the results?
Yes, sir, we do.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I read out the result, we had to invalidate the vote for Banji Olugbosu because you're only allowed to vote 3 times. And you already voted for the first 3 nominees, so we had to invalidate that. So for Kasim, I'm sorry, Kofi, we have 3 votes. Nonao for Palesa Capital, you have 3 votes. Then Fiona Ahime, 3 votes. Banji Olugbosun, no votes. Then Erifolami Gafa, no votes. Thank you.
Okay. Based on the results of the votes cast, I now move that the shareholders' representatives who will serve as members of the audit committee until the next annual general meeting are Mr. Kasimu Garba Kofi, Mr. Nona Awo, and Mrs. Fiona Ahime. Will someone please second the motion? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, okay. So I now confirm that those are the shareholders' representatives for the next year. Disclosure of remuneration of managers. The next item on the agenda is disclosure of remuneration of managers. By virtue of Section 257 of the Companies and Other Matters Act 2020, a company is required to disclose the remuneration of its managers as part of the ordinary business of the annual general meeting. For the year ended 31st December 2021, the total sum of 55,597,000 naira was paid to the managers of the company. Shareholders are requested to note the disclosure on the compensation of the managers as contained on page 95 of the annual report. The next item on the agenda is to fix the remuneration of the directors. I hereby move that the directors' fees for the financial year ending 31st December 2022 be and is hereby fixed at 9,075,000 naira only. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders who holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total vote cast here today, who are voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare the motion unanimously carried. Approval of issuance of bonus shares to NASD shareholders. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the issuance of bonus shares to NASD shareholders. In accordance with Section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, every company is required to maintain a prescribed minimum issued share capital. The Companies Regulations 2021 further directed that all companies in existence comply with the requirement of minimum issued share capital. As such, companies could no longer hold unissued shares. The Corporate Affairs Commission issued a circular on 16th April 2021, directing all companies to comply with the new provisions of CAMA no later than 31st December 2022. In order to comply with the company's regulations, the Board of Directors, subject to shareholders' approval, is proposing one new bonus shares for every 10 shares held by shareholders. I now propose the following resolution. That upon the recommendation of the Board of Directors, the sum of 44,420,438 be credited from the company's retained earnings account and capitalized with the issue of 44,420,438 ordinary shares of ₦1 each, by way of bonus shares in the ratio of 1 new share for every 10 shares held by shareholders whose names appear in the register of members at the close of business on 13th June 2022, and the shares so allotted shall be treated for all purposes as capital and not as income, and shall rank pari passu with the existing shares of the company. Will a shareholder please second the motion? You have votes cast by the... Okay, well, I would have been surprised if it was different, since it's the shareholders that are getting the benefits. So the motion has been carried. Okay, please announce the result. Maybe I'm too eager to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I declare the motion unanimously carried. Now, the next item on the agenda is the approval of allotment of shares under an employee share option scheme. This resolution is proposed as a special resolution and seeks shareholder approval to establish an employee share option scheme for the benefit of the company's employees on such terms and in such manner as the directors may determine from time to time. I hereby move a resolution that the directors be and are hereby authorized to do all such things and exercise such powers as may be necessary to establish an employee share option scheme and allot under the scheme 11,375,174 ordinary shares of ₦1 each, representing 2.5% of the total shares of the company, to qualifying employees of the company at such price, time, and for such period and on such other terms and conditions as the directors may deem fit, subject to the applicable laws and regulations and receipt of such other regulatory approvals as may be necessary. Will a shareholder please second the motion? The votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding a total of 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes cast who are voted for this resolution. Thank you.
You very much. I can see, I commend the spirit, the generous spirit of the shareholders. We now move to the next item on the agenda, which involves passing ancillary resolutions to give effect to resolutions 13 and 14. I hereby move a resolution such that the company be and is hereby authorized to enter into and execute agreements, deeds, notices, and all other documents necessary for and or incidental to the resolutions above. The company be and is hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties, consultants, and advisors as may be required to comply with the resolutions above. And the company be and is hereby authorized to perform all acts and to do all such other things as may be necessary for or incidental to giving effect to the above resolutions, including without limitation, complying with the directives of the regulatory authorities. Will a shareholder please second the motion? Registrar, please display the results.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total vote cast who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
I hereby declare the motion as unanimously carried. The final item on the agenda involves the amendment of the company's memorandum and articles of association to comply with section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. I hereby move a motion as follows: that pursuant to section 53 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the company be and is hereby authorized to take all necessary steps to ensure that the memorandum and article of association of the company are altered to comply with section 124 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, including replacing the provision stating the authorized share capital with the issued share capital. Will a shareholder please second the motion? Please note that a special resolution is required to amend the company's article of association. Accordingly, at least 75% of the shareholders voting in person or by proxy are required to approve this resolution in order for it to be carried. The votes cast will be displayed and read out by the registrar. Will a shareholder please second the motion? Thank you very much. Registrar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have 27 shareholders holding 272,053,344 units, representing 100% of the total votes cast who have voted for this resolution. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded all the items on the agenda for this meeting. On behalf of the board, I thank you for your interest in this company, and I hereby declare that we have come to the end of the 9th annual general meeting of NASD plc. Before we close the meeting, I would like to inform the shareholders that Mr. Bola Jomali, the current managing director of NASD plc, who has served the statutory tenure prescribed by law and who surprisingly has reached retirement age, will be retiring At the conclusion of this meeting, may I consequently call upon before the MD makes the concluding remarks and give the vote of thanks, may I please ask Chief Ogwefu to give us to give him our most heartfelt gratitude for his service to this company. He's leaving, but I'm sure that he probably won't be too far away from the market. I'm sure, and I'm sure that Mr. Longe and many of us will probably informally contact him from time to time to seek his advice and deep knowledge of this company and the industry, this segment of the industry that he has pioneered. I'm sure that it takes courage for somebody to get into a new area and try to find find a way, find his feet, chart a path across uncharted jungle. It is really a jungle, because there are many animals, lurking in the forest, to devour and to. But I'm sure that as you can see, he doesn't bear any scratches. Maybe he lost a few hairs on his head, but he replaced them. He was compensated with a luscious beard, even though graying. So Chief Nwanze, please help us thank him.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Bola started with this company as a project manager, right from the scratch, and built it up. I have worked with a lot of young men, but I have not seen or worked with one that has such initiative and energy. From the scratch, he built this organization. Everything that has been put in place is right from the scratch. There was no precedence. He picked it up, worked as a project manager, and when it was time to now appoint a managing director for the company to take off, he applied. We interviewed him, and I think he has never disappointed us. Even there are things that he brought up that we submitted to SEC. They were new to SEC. Some of the rules for that was his initiative. So, Bola, we thank you very much for what you have done for this company. I wish you could do better for your going. We're really going to miss you a lot, but like the chairman said, we know you are going to be around, and I'm sure that everybody will still be consulting you. We pray to God Almighty that whatever new endeavor you are going to embark on will be very successful. The good Lord will continue to guide you. And just like you have successfully built this, you will even do better for whatever new endeavor you are going into by the grace of the Almighty Father. It's not that he only built the place. There's not one single member of the board of directors that he didn't get along with. Yes. The staff, right from the beginning, he got along with. He was one person that believed in consultation. Even if, in most cases, by the time he's consulting you, even that proposal that is made, you will not find it, you will find it difficult to change it because he has gone through it very thoroughly. We are glad that we are in a position and you have worked with him, somebody that is going to probably take over from you. I will say that maybe it's just a replica of what you have. So we thank you, and the good Lord will continue to bless you, to lead you, and to prosper you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will now give Mr. Jomale the opportunity to thank the shareholders for the last time as the Managing Director of Nasd Plc. And I'm told that the shareholders in return, they can send anything to him in gratitude, especially now that he has engineered a bonus for you. He will not reject any transfer of shares to him. Thank you very much.
If I may stand, I've been dreading this for the reason that I must be as concise as possible, otherwise I'll ramble. But it has been an absolute privilege to be of service to the country, to the industry, to the shareholders, and most especially to the board. I think I still recall the first introduction to NASD I had, which was a tap on my shoulder and someone saying, keep your powder dry. I don't know whether Mr. Enoch can remember doing that to me. He came in, tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, keep your powder dry, something is coming. And subsequent to talking to what would be my chairman and mentor, Mr. Obunri, and my vice chairman, and my father in the industry, Chief Wanze, I decided it is a journey that I would love to go on, supporting these respected icons of the industry in whatever plans they had. And then fortune brought me into contact again with my good friend, Ariel and Dabaka, Ariel Olusegun and Dabaka Lawal. And even then, the ball was rolling even faster. I can only say it's been a privilege. The respect I have for the intellect of the board and for the industry that I chose to serve in is such that I couldn't do anything less than give it everything I had, including sleep as well, because there were quite a few nights when I'd want to sleep, but it just wouldn't happen because it's like, what are we going to do tomorrow morning? It has been a challenge in growing the industry. We have received a lot of support from the Securities and Exchange Commission, who are our apex regulator, and will always continue to go back to the Securities and Exchange Commission because that is where the industry will expand from. The CAC obviously had done their bit in providing the environment. So again, my thanks to both bodies. I would like to thank our company secretaries who have supported us throughout this time as well. My colleagues in the industry, my colleagues in the business who have been patient enough with me for every erratic idea I come up with. And I come up with some pretty erratic ideas and I say, let's go and think about it and let's see what we can do. And I thank them for that support and that trust. Most importantly, the shareholders who entrusted the company to me, who were patient with us at times when it seemed like the journey was petering out, or it seemed like there were potholes on the road, who also, after they had invested once, reinvested again and again to make sure that this company stands. I cannot thank you enough for that trust. I cannot thank you enough for what you have done so far. But I do promise that from what we have set up, the foundation we have built, and the tallest buildings are only as strong as the foundation. The foundation we have built will carry into your total aspirations for this market and beyond. I believe that this company is going to go international. I believe that it is a prayer, but it's also it is also things that have been set in motion. I believe that we're opening up new industries and new markets that would be astonishing in the nearest future. Once again, I'd like to say a very big thank you to everybody who has supported me in this 10-year journey. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know that farewells are hard, but I think it's 12:32. I have another engagement, and so I will have to bring this meeting to a close. But I cannot do that without thanking all of you for your patience and continued interest in the company, and also taking time out to be with us today, either virtually or physically. Thank you very much, and God bless. Oh, no, can we have a closing prayer from either of the two allergies? Three allergies in the room. There are three allergies in the room. Well, I want volunteers.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank Allah for guiding us through this meeting. We pray that He will continue to guide the directors and management of the company so that the company will continue to do well, realize the objectives of the shareholders, make profits for shareholders, and assist in developing the Nigerian capital markets and the Nigerian economy in general. Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.